Look, black and blue lives. Yeah. That's a new vibe. Black and blue lives. That's a new vibe.
How do you agree so like when you see those property like this?
Yeah. What is up, everybody? What is going on? It is Wednesday. What is today's date? It's September the 15th. It's 8 o'clock, so you already know what that is. It is the Black and Blue Live Show. I am, of course, Prince Blue. That handsome white guy right there, that is Jonathan Stepp. And you know what we're going to do? We're going to talk about police, community, mental health, everything from donuts to Skittles to firearms to PTSD to bipolar. Not in that particular order, but we're going to get into it. What's going on, Jay?
Man, just trying to beat the corona, man. You know, got a nebulizer, trying to inhale some vitamins or whatever in there.
And you know what? If anybody can, like, not like anybody, any person, but anybody, like physical body, can take the corona, ball it up, and spit it out, is you. But I hope you getting better, my man. I know that. Listen, I know better than anybody how that thing feels, and I'm happy you're here with us. I'm glad that you're joining us at not 100%, but that's what you do, man. You always bringing it.
I was on death's doorstep, you know, and then I just jumped up.
You just turned around. You turned around.
No, actually, other than this cough, I can't shake. But if you know me, I'm not contagious anymore, so you're good. But I think one too many Florida trips, so came back and was just really, really achy, like my back and my hips. I'm like, damn, dude, what's wrong with me? And then
super spreader, Florida.
Oh, absolutely. And then so my hips got sore, and I was like, man, this is just really, really uncomfortable. And I was like, well, maybe I've been driving too much or whatever. But then, you know, started coughing, my nose was running, and then tested positive. What I did do, it was like a light cold. You know, there was a day or two where I was like, shit, man, I want to lay down, but for a second. But I did that something antibody treatment.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the next day I started feeling better. So,
listen,
just coincidence, but it really helped.
It sucks, man. Like you be feeling like you went like 12 rounds with Mike Tyson. And you know it sucks if somebody that likes snacks like myself don't want to eat snacks. So it's rough, man.
My dad was in the hospital for days and days. Him and my mom both got it. I haven't seen them, so they didn't get it from I think they went to church and like 60 people in their church got it. But my dad was in pretty bad shape, and he has diabetes and some heart issues. But he's about 75% now. But he's for the last 2.5 weeks or something. He's been hit pretty hard. So.
Yeah, and shout out to Dad, man. Shout out to everybody else that's dealing with it or has dealt with it. Just get better, and thank you for joining us, man. And last week, I want to address last week. I'm sorry, last week there was no show. I do feel honored that people were texting and asking, like, yo, anybody got the link? Like, where's the show? I can't find it. So that means that people absolutely look forward to us every week, and I greatly appreciate it. But last week, as you know, we talk about mental health all the time, and for those who don't know, if you're living under a rock, I'll say it again. I think I've been pretty transparent. I suffer from major depressive disorder and bipolar disorder. So after the whole I got accepted to the doctoral stuff program and stuff like that. Yeah. My wife told me this, but I didn't notice it. She said I was trending down after that.
Really?
Like I was very short. I was snapping. I was being unruly, and I was just being short, and I was being angry. And on top of that, it was things I was seeing on social media. It was here, we had the high school students that shot into the home and killed the little boy and
3-year-old,
wounded
4-year-old.
4-year-old. And then on top of that, believe it or not, one of my homeboys called me and they was like, "Yo," they was like, "Triple H, the wrestler, is in, he's in the hospital. He had a emergency heart procedure." And I don't know, but for some reason that was just like the final straw, and I was just feeling like crap. So I text you and I told you, I was like, "Dude, if I do this tonight, like I'm liable to like say some shit and do some things that I'm not supposed to be doing." So I was like, "Let's just push it back." And you was like, "That's cool." And I did that. I deactivated my social media for like 48 hours. Like I just didn't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
So that's I apologize to everybody for last week, but I appreciate that everybody that checked up on me and made sure I was okay. I am fine. But that's just one of the things, when you're dealing with, bipolar disorder, like
It's real.
it's real. And
Yeah.
I honestly didn't notice it until it started getting really bad. Like my wife noticed it and she was like, "Hey, like, yo, you gotta chill out. Like you're on one."
We talked about this before. Her being, I mean, she's got all the certifications, like all the letters and the CP, all her title and her expertise. But I bet that helps a lot. Her being a therapist and being able to recognize when you're having issues, and you probably listen to a little more because she's probably not only is she your wife and she knows you, but she's trained a little bit and recognize the signs.
It does. It absolutely does, because she knows me and she knows when I'm training down. Like, for example, like I got a routine. Like I'm routine. I get up, I take the kids to school, I go to the gym. I go to the supermarket or whatever, run little errands, and I come back home. If I'm like back in the bed, like she comes upstairs and she's like, "Get out of the bed." She's like, "No, get out of the bed. Like, don't sit, get out of the bed." Like, she makes me get out of the bed because she knows for some reason, when I'm really hypomanic or whatever, like I want to sleep. Like, it's like draining. It's like physically draining. Like, I just want to sleep. I want to sleep, 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 sleep. But she knows that if I'm up and moving, it doesn't allow my mind to be idle and me to start, thinking, things that's not so good. So it definitely helps that she's my wife, number one, and she knows her husband, and number two, as a licensed clinical therapist, she knows the signs and she knows when somebody is having episodes. So that definitely works, man. I'm so blessed to have her in my corner.
Absolutely. And I wanted to give you another shout out, man. I mean, you getting accepted. A lot of people asked me about it, about you getting accepted for your doctorate. People, if they hadn't missed it, you just got your mask not too long ago. It's hanging on the wall somewhere behind you.
Yeah, it's back there looking at me.
I'm trying to keep up, and then but to get accepted to that doctor is a huge honor, man. And a lot of people telling me to make sure I give you a shout out. They're proud of you, and that's a pretty big accomplishment. Just to get accepted. Yeah. I mean, it's not like somebody everybody with a master's like, "I want to do my doctorate." It's a process. I mean, it's
yes.
So I'm proud of you, man, and I know you're gonna do well. And I can't wait to talk to Dr. Prince Blue.
See, no, that kind of makes me cringe a little bit. It kind of makes me cringe a little bit. Like, no, it'll still be Blue.
What do you go by? What do you go by? Dr. Prince or Dr. Blue or?
Neither. I'm gonna go by Blue, Blue or Prince. Anybody call me Doctor, I'm immediately want to crawl out.
So I think the real reason you didn't want to go on air, I don't know when you had a track race. You were in the ATL. you went. So I got some leaked footage from the paparazzi of you engaged in a foot race in the. I don't know if you can tell it was like part of the Special Olympics or.
You supposed to be my homeboy, yo. Like, why are you gonna do that? But yes, for those who don't know, I went to Atlanta to see the Eagles versus the Falcons, which they won, by the way. Go Birds! And a couple friends of mine from Eagles Twitter met up with me there because one of them just happens to be a college track star, and now she coaches track. And for a year, like I'll be talking shit to her, saying like how I'm better than her. I could beat her in a race, like I could beat her with Timberlands on. So throughout the year, it just started gaining. Then one day, we was like, yo, are we gonna be? What games are we going to? And I said the fact that she was like, yo, I'm gonna be in Atlanta. I was like, so you want to race? And she was like, yeah. So we actually made it, and people thought we were joking, and we were like training for it. You know, I was trying to,
Did you
lose as much
stretch?
weight as possible, get strong. You know what? I never stretch for anything. I hate stretching. I don't know why. I just hate stretching. So we went to Atlanta. We met up at the high school. We was supposed to meet at Bill Badger Stadium, but she didn't realize that it was a football game going on. So we had to change the venue like at that time. So we went to a high school. What comes to find out, it's the high school where Big Boy and Andre 3000 and Outkast graduated from. So we was racing on hallowed ground. So we went to the track, and for those who are watching live, you're gonna get to witness my greatness, my speed. I bought the speed of 3 Jamaicans and 2 juggernauts with me. And
this is straight from TMZ. I purchased this from TMZ from the paparazzi. So.
This is straight TMZ Sports. This was the first race. Here it is.
Runners on your mark. Ready, set, go.
Wait, she started before me. She started before me.
Get up. Get the move.
And as you can see, there was a little bit of controversy. She got a head start, and I actually had to pick up some speed on her, but she wound up winning by just like I say a nose. But
I think if it was fair, in the you would have had her by a couple feet, but
right. And you know what's funny about that race? Like I said, she won by like a nose or whatever. So the guy that did the count, he felt bad. Shout out to E-Rock from Eagles Twitter, the mighty E-Rock. He was like, yo, I feel bad. So you can redeem yourself. You can race me, and we'll go about it that way. So I was like, all right, cool. Then my homeboy D, who was there, my homeboy Darryl, he was like, all right, well, I'm getting in this then. And then, so I raced again right after that. So this was the second race.
No time to rest.
No Gatorade, no water. I just did what my ancestors did. I ran. And here we go.
Whoa, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a
You don't get credit for racing a white guy. That'd be like
in Vans.
And he's got his Vans on, man.
But I told people, like I may be like top heavy, but I got feet like a deer, man. It's like like straight line, I'm good.
So one thing I want to ask related to this is your game is, I don't know if you ever did any off duty at Panther Stadium. I used to do it. I did in the early 2000s when I was a deputy here, like 2000, 2001, 2, and 3, 4. I used to do it all the time. The worst fans were the Philadelphia Eagle fans every time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, they were just like straight, like
just
fights.
Fuck everybody.
It was bad. So I don't know if anybody else worked off duty. Who are the bad fans now? But
but
yeah,
we love
so,
it.
yeah.
We love it. We love,
they're
but you
passionate.
know what? We love to earn. But we don't like when people use lazy narratives. Like they use it to say, like Philly fans are always. No, that's not true. Like we'll take over your stadium, but we're some of the most passionate fans. Like we'll buy you beers. Like we like it's all good. You know, every fan base has a few bad apples, but man, it's nothing like Philadelphia, man. I think
mean,
the stadium was like 50. It was like I would say it was like 55-50 Eagles. That's how we show
yeah,
up.
that's how they roll. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And then
Go ahead.
no, go ahead. Shout it out.
No, I was gonna say shout out to Shay for racing me. Shout out to D. Everybody that showed up and supported me. And no, I didn't tear anything. Even the people that tuned in to see if I would fall. I told y'all when I was a cop, it was so rare that I would get dusted by a suspect. Because like I said, straight line, I'm good. And that's where my size come in handy because people would look at me and they would be like, I don't know if they got cocky. It was like, I don't have to go full speed, but I can't tell you how many people will be running and then they'll turn back like his fat ass ain't behind me. And they'll be like, oh, he's still there. And then the race is on. So shout out to everybody. I haven't ran that fast in a long time. I probably won't run that fast ever again unless the ice cream man comes out here. But I'm not running that no more.
That's my second point, especially third shift. I don't know if first and second shift would do this because they were a lot busier. But third shift always had, would clear a call, and then they would be unit officer would be trash talking. Like, yeah, you got feet. No, I got feet. And everybody, and then just right there in the middle of the street, we'll
go
line them up and just go.
Love it.
And so third shift, and then not only this was when we were in Eastway, but I think I've seen videos from other departments, and I think everybody does it. You know who the fastest person on the shift is, especially on third shift. Now, like I said, second shift, I think you have a little more camaraderie on the third shift because you got a little more downtime most of the time to bond and stuff. But that's the way officers bond. That's a good.
Did you? Okay, so we used to race on third shift, right? We used to do that, right? We used to do stuff like that, right? But did you ever do this on third shift?
Let's go! Let's go! Ready? Go! Go ahead! Go ahead! Don't get scared!
Oh, that's a setup, man.
Can you imagine calling your sergeant like, I don't feel good? What happened? I was doing the crate down.
Add 30 pounds of gear on you when you fall down. I mean, that makes you pump a little harder.
Oh shit! Yo, and he fell sideways, and that was his gun side. So
you know he's trying to play it off. He's about to cry. He's like, oh, like that gun's pushed to the side, and his probably shoulders jacked up.
But hey, like Ann said, that's community policing, right? But you know what? There's a lot of videos out there of officers playing basketball, officers playing football, officers just hanging out. Like there's a couple videos on TikTok where it's a sound where a dude is explaining how his wife left him and the cop is just listening like word. So it's a lot of things out there. And I played that video just to segue into our next segment. Our topic, which is about everybody knows, we just had the anniversary of 9/11, and 9/11 means different things to different people, some good, some bad, some indifferent. But the one thing I remember was the just support and the reach and the camaraderie from the community towards the police after 9/11 for some of the sacrifices and some of the people some of the officers and first responders being there on ground zero. And when I was seeing all the videos, the one thing I automatically paid attention to, I was like, man, I see the community giving officers water. I see officers giving, hugs out to the community, being proactive, respecting each other. That's very important. Just overall, just general human respect for the community, from the officers to the community. And then I fast forward to 2021, we got videos where people are just recording an officer just doing his job, trying to provoke him to say something or do something out of character so they can say, got you. Or you got police literally on camera planting evidence, being belligerent, breaking the law, not knowing the law. And I just look at from 2011 to now, and I'm like, what happened? Of course, we all know the big things, where it's the officer-involved shootings, the levels of disrespect from both sides, Floyd, Taylor, Breonna Taylor, so on. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And I thought it would be important, me and you, to ask the question is, what happened in your estimation, in your opinion, what happened to that mutual respect between the community and the police?
Well, I can tell you, I was a cop during 9/11, right? So I remember I worked the night shift prior to on the 10th, early morning, 6 a.m. I'm in bed. My mom's blowing up my home phone because I don't know if I had a cell phone in 2001. But like a plane hit the building, whatever. So didn't understand the gravity until I got up, and we didn't get alerts on our phone. I mean, news even then, that 20 years ago, things were a lot slower getting around, right? So you had to actually turn on the news, right? I mean, you did. Unless you wanted to wait 15 minutes to get logged on. So things were totally different. It was automatically. It didn't matter if it was in the hood. It didn't matter where it was at. Things were different. Everybody came together. Nobody was getting locked up. Because people weren't committing crimes. It was slow. It was a super, super slow thing. Intake might used to process, on an average day, 60 to 80 people in Mecklenburg County at that time. I think they were doing like 10 or 15 because everybody was focused on what was going on. There was a huge community support fire department. The fire department, they were rolling down their trucks with the flags. People were buying us meals. It was totally different. And I think what's happened is, the release of the availability of cameras, everything's recorded. We've seen, I could tell you one of the first things I saw that I would be like, that's no way it's happened, until I saw on video, was the North Charleston officer who shot the person running away in the back. And there could be some training issues. It could be, I'm not saying what he did was like it could have been a lack of judgment. It could have been training. It could have been malicious. I don't know. We don't know. I don't know what is in their heart. But when I saw that, I was like, holy shit, man, I can't believe an officer would do that. It blew my mind. So, and then slowly but surely, it's very, 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 very low percentage of officers ever do anything to tarnish the badge. But sometimes it's honest mistake. Sometimes it's, like I said, it's training issue. It's not knowing the law. It's an overreaction. But when those things happen, they're on video. It causes a tidal wave of emotions, not only in the general public, or if it's a minority neighborhood, it doesn't matter. At that point, everybody's upset, because it doesn't matter if you're white, black, Hispanic, Asian. You don't like to see other people mistreated, especially by people in authority. So I think there's been some videos that we've talked about. You could justify it, and they look bad, but they're justified. And there are other videos there's no justification to, and it gives that perception that cops are out here just doing crazy shit, and that causes the divide. Then you have politicians and the media trying to capitalize on making issues of stuff for ratings, and it's just a downward spiral. So then we become the enemy. The people that 99.9% of us in police, fire, medic, the military, we do this for the right reasons, and it's
I totally agree with you. And I could take it a little step further. What I think happened is that the grace period was over. Like you see it. Like one of the comedians, Lil Duval out there. He's really funny. He'll get on social media. He'll be like, "What are we fake caring about today?" And when he means by that, he means like everybody gets hung up on this certain thing, and then they want to care about it. They want to be mad about it. They want to protest about it. They want to do whatever it is about it. And then a week later, what are we talking about? Like, remember, like before the whole COVID thing, what was it? It was Kaepernick kneeling, police brutality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now all you hear about, are you vaccinated? Are you unvaccinated? So it's like you keep moving on. Like you're not even hearing, like, I'm not seeing police brutality videos, officer involved shooting videos. When I look at the news, all I'm hearing is
over now.
such and such mandate, such as this, that. So it's like, I guess, like to see your point when you said everything has cameras now. I guess, like you said, not right now, because there's no video that's circulating right now that got people like, oh crap, let's talk about this. And I just think that the basic respect is gone. Like, I get it. Like, nobody likes to get pulled over by the police. Nobody likes to get approached by the police. But now it went from, did I do anything, officer? Like, how can I help you, officer? Or what did I do? Or even a case of like, what the fuck, man? What's going on? To, fuck you, I ain't got to do this. Fuck you, pig.
Don't roll my window down.
Like, I ain't rolling shit down. I ain't got to do this. So what? I got weed on me. Fuck you. It's not illegal. Like, people just be wrong and loud. And it's from both sides. Police be loud and wrong, and the community be loud and wrong. And nobody's like taking a break to listen. Everybody's listening to respond and react. And it's really like fucking up everything.
Yeah, there's a video released, it was on the news earlier, in Cabarrus County, which is just north of Charlotte, where I guess I think it was a deputy or Concord officer was trying to stop a vehicle for no tag or tag violation. Didn't stop, went 3.5 miles, changing lanes, passed multiple locations to pull over safely. Apparently, the police pulled over, wouldn't roll the window down. Well, what's going to happen at that point? You have your gun. If it's not stopping, you don't know. You can have your gun out, police low ready. Breach the window. You're going to open the door. I know where you're out of the car. I'm going to have to breach the window. Who escalates that encounter? The person who's not compliant, not the officer, right? So, looked like he refused to get out to comply. They breached the window, got him out and detained him. And of course, he's trying to say he's traumatically depressed or something, trying to sue the police department. But based on the video I saw, and the officer didn't do anything wrong. But I think a lot of people are doing things, and you see it all the time, to try to, like you said earlier, antagonize the police or push the limit to get the police to hoping they overreact so they can get a lawsuit, a payday, right? So, and so people are seeing videos and like, I want to be the next person somebody sets up a GoFundMe for, right? So, and sometimes it's justified with officers, using excessive force or being out of control, and sometimes. But the majority of the time, it's not. How many contacts do we, just in Charlotte alone, the officers have every day without any issues? And when's the last time, very rarely, maybe once every other year, you hear about some kind of encounter the police had. And most of the time here in Charlotte, and most of the time out of the hundreds of thousands of encounters, most of the time the officer acted within policy and the law. So,
and go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, but you and I both, we're both pro-police, but if someone does something outside those lines, we'll call them out on it. And so, like I said, so just because an officer does something wrong doesn't mean he's racist. It doesn't mean that something, like I said, there's most of the time it's training, and most of the time it's experience, and you're not used to those high levels of adrenaline. Adrenaline's a drug, man. if you're not used to having that adrenaline up and you have a car take off on you or a foot chase and you're not used to that, you're amped up to the point where you might overreact a little bit. And it's like you're
taking a bump of cocaine. It really, adrenaline really
it's high, and you get used to it. And that's why you'll see a lot of people, and nothing's wrong with it. I've done it before. After you come down from a fight or 40 or chase or something, sometimes you find yourself kind of jittery because you're coming down from that adrenaline high, and that's a normal body's response to coming. And what's bad is when you're in the shit so much that your body doesn't respond to adrenaline, and then the problem. Like I was getting to the point where we'd do takedowns and all crazy stuff. And I wouldn't get that adrenaline rush like I used to. You'd get scared, I'm still like, oh shit, this is dangerous, or this is not gonna be good. But that I lost that ability to get it because it was like I was just always, I don't know. But it's weird, but you're right. So when you see somebody on the side, that doesn't mean they're nervous, they're scared. They're coming down. A lot of times they're telling, it's just they're coming down that adrenaline that their body's compensating for that adrenaline dump. And
it goes the same like when you've seen it when you're either chasing somebody or you go to put hands on somebody to arrest them, and they're not necessarily resisting, they have adrenaline. So it's like, and you got people touching you, so, it's not resisting all the time. Sometimes it's just natural reaction of somebody you don't know touching you. Now, especially somebody in a uniform that's probably about to take away your freedom, you get, you clench up, you ask what's going on, you move around. That's why sometimes, like you said, it comes down to training and being able to understand the situation. Because as a police officer, not everything needs to go from 0 to 100. Even when you're detaining somebody, that's when you see officers like do that one extra kick or that one extra punch. And it's like, you're looking at the video and you're like, what the fuck was that for? Like, he was good. He was done. Yeah. Then you got Johnny officer come in, take an extra swing, or you got that's why it's like perfect example, Floyd. Chauvin probably got finished wrestling with George or whatever, and then he allowed his adrenaline dump to be his knee on the guy's back. And the people around him wasn't like, they didn't recognize that, like, hey, get the fuck up. Like nobody. And that's what that small adrenaline dump can end up in something tragic like that. That's why you got to have people around you to be like, people have done me. Hey, Blue, he good. Get up.
Yeah.
Hey, we got it. Step back.
And if you have a good crew or good, that's what they do. Sometimes you get. I had 21 years on, and I would still get jacked up. And not feel that drip, but I would get like, you fucking kidding me? Like just get jacked up, and then somebody would come and hey, Step, I got him. He's good. And then you take a breath, and you get pissed off. If someone, I tell people, as long as you don't try to hurt me or my people, I'm not mad at you. Try to run. Mm-hmm. Make it fun. I like chasing bad guys. That's why I did this as a game to me. I want to chase you as long as you don't try to hurt us. But the people who try to hurt us or ram our cars or whatever, it pisses you off. And it's with the adrenaline dump. Sometimes it's discipline, and it's people around you doing the buddy check that coming up and like, hey, Step, I got him. Hey, Blue, he's good. I got him. He's 72. He's 72. And so 72 is a code we use at least for a lot of ages. He's code 3 out west, but he's under arrest. He's in custody. And sometimes you hear that, because sometimes you don't know if I'm controlling his shoulders and his head, and he's going like this, and then you got him handcuffed, and then I'm like, okay, and in my mind I'm like, okay, he's not handcuffed because I can't see, and I give him a punch. Well, shit, he's handcuffed. How's that going to look? So sometimes the optics of it could be, even though based on that circumstances, depending, that officer, just because he hit him when he handcuffed didn't mean he's broke the law or whatever, depending on what he knew. And I punched the guy. He was able to get his handcuffs in front of him. And I went to grab him, and he hit me in the face and scratched my face. and I punched him in the face a few times, but it was justified based on, I mean, those cuffs are a weapon. I had a big scratch on my face. I mean, if someone's like this, they could still assault you, and you show it. I mean, just because somebody's handcuffed doesn't mean they're not a threat. We've had people that are handcuffed take.
I've seen it all, man. Like it's like crazy. We got a few comments I want to read real quick. We got one from Angela Alvarez, fan of the show. Appreciate her always coming on. She said humans forgot how to think for themselves, and we lost our humanity in chase of the next viral video, street cred. I agree there. And then we got one from Ann Step, who says veteran officers suffer from the cortisol levels being out of whack and adrenaline being completely depleted. Their bodies are struggling to regulate themselves. Your jobs create a chemical balance within. And what you both said makes sense. And you know what's so weird about it? Like nobody outside that gives a shit. Like all they care about is what it looks like. Like they don't want to hear cortisol levels. They don't want to hear adrenaline dumps. They don't want to hear any of that crap. And most of them never did it them damn selves. They're like a police officer for 2 weeks, then a supervisor, and then they got a white shirt, and they just totally forget how it really is out here in these streets. That's SKREETS, streets. They forget how it is in these streets.
Angela got experience as a paramedic. They get adrenaline dumps, right? I mean, especially not a fireman, and just think, just the fact, especially you haven't done it in a while, you get in the car or the ambulance or fire truck, you run into traffic, blue lights and siren, siren. It gets your adrenaline going. You start feeling, and what it does, you feel alive. You just like, when that happens, that adrenaline just makes you feel alert. So, but they can relate to it too. I've seen medic and fire have to fight people. They don't play games like we have. I've seen the firemen pull out the hooligan tools, halogen tools.
First of all, if I'm a firefighter, I'm coming out with my axe, my mask.
They got a truck of like 6-7 people. Yeah.
And the weird thing about it, firefighters got it really, really good because they love them, man. They love them. Like they got
but now it doesn't matter.
The whole
you think now it doesn't matter. You got a uniform. A lot of agencies, their officers are having to wear. I'm sorry, they're now. So I always wondered. You don't call them fireman. What if you're a fireman? Do you just say I'm a fireman? You don't say I'm a fireman. You say I'm a fireman. Or
fire one man.
I'm a fire one man. So firefighter. Right? So if you're a firefighter and medic, a lot of the places they have to vest up. I do medic will here they have vests if they go in a hot call or something. And we both had during my shooting, fire was in the background and rounds were going their way. So they're just because they're in the shit just like we are. They're going the same calls in with the same people.
Yeah. Absolutely. And another thing about the whole thing about the issue after 9/11 and the relations between police and the community, it's like the farthest you are removed from any major event or tragic event, the more the less it matters, the less the respect matters, because there's nothing to base it off of. You know what I'm saying? Like after 9/11, you saw firefighters and first responders covered in soot, covered in smoke, carrying kids, carrying adults. So you're like, man, like this is the guy I just saw on TV doing these feats. We're far removed from 9/11 now. You're not seeing officers doing those type of feats anymore. They may get like a 30-second clip sometimes of an officer who may have smashed a window and got a dog out or something like that, but you're not seeing no events like that anymore. You're either seeing an officer do something right. You're either seeing an officer do something bad, or you're seeing a memorial for an officer that was just went down. Like there's nothing in between.
You're exactly right.
So,
And
go ahead.
go ahead. Sorry, it's a little sound
No,
issue
no,
there.
I was gonna say that when there's nothing to, you know, there's pretty much there's no collateral anymore. There's no good will that's built up. There's no reservoir. It's like now it's like, yo, all cops are stupid, all cops are racist, and it's like from the cop side, it's like the community is dumb, like they're all stupid, they're all liberal idiots, and it's like there's no individual
You know,
relationships anymore. It's
and
nothing.
it's us against them, and I see why that happens. Is because the people that a lot of people we're dealing with are doing bad things. So then
Mhm.
you get jaded and you feel like, well, everybody's doing something bad. There's all these bad people when in fact, a very small percent of the population commit most of the crimes. And I mean, there's shit turds in every race and religion and creed. But the thing is, you're dealing with those people all the time. So then you kind of get hardened to okay, well, I go to this neighborhood. Every time I go in this neighborhood, I deal with shit turds. Well, most of the good people are scared to come outside in some of the high crime areas, and they're definitely not going to talk to the cops, because they don't want to be labeled as a snitch or whatever. But how many times we'll be on a call and somebody will call and want to say, "Hey, I don't want to come out and talk to the officers,"
I
but
want to know my name.
that person in the blue shirt is the one who did it. So the people that care in the community, but a lot of time, so there's very few people, even the high crime areas in these communities that we work, Belmont, Allen, there's a very few percentage of people that are actually committing crimes in that area. A lot of great people, and I think our captain at the time, she grew up in there, and but or her aunt or somebody, but they're overshadowed by the few, and they're scared to come out and be vocal or be supportive. And that's what people have to realize is just because they're not coming out on the streets and talking to us and giving us high five doesn't mean that people don't care about us. But they'll be isolated or criticized or property damaged if people think that they support the police or
Right.
if they're a snitch, right? So
You're right. You're right. So let me ask you this: like, do you think it will ever get back? Um, like immediately post 9/11, do you ever think the relationship between the community and police will ever get to that level again?
in my opinion,
Honestly,
I think things are going to continue to get worse with violent crime and the pendulum. What do they call it? What do you call it? You got
the
your master's,
pendulum,
pendulum.
pendulum.
Yeah, sometimes you have to pronounce things for me. So it's going to come back the other way. You know, uh, Gary McFadden. I don't know. I think I said this before in one of the shows, but a month and a half, 2 months ago, I ran into him. I was had dinner or lunch with hashtag Buddy Check, going over some stuff for the show and some calls that he was doing. And I ran into Gary McFadden. Gary McFadden's the sheriff of Mecklenburg County, used to be a homicide detective. And he was telling me back in the day, in the early 90s when the crack came out, I mean, the population was less than half of what it is now. They were having 120 homicides. And he said like he had 33 cases or something, just stacked on. They were just humping, man. And you know, like him or not, a lot of people feel like he's turning his back on law enforcement, but there's a different when you're a politician. When you're at that level, you have to appease a lot of people, like it or not. But what he said was true. I'm like, well, I said, Sheriff, I'm like, what do we have to do? What did y'all do back then to curb the homicides, right? So he was like aggressive law enforcement. We had ATF and the jump out boys, come out and like street crime, jumping out on people like we used to do when I was on street crimes in Eastway. Belmont, Allen, or Allen 16th, wherever they were, slinging open air drug market, we would keep it hot for them, and pick them off for the rocks and selling dope. And they said you have to put people in jail and have the district attorney on board and the politicians to support you what you do in the administration to put these people in jail because sometimes in
Not
these real cases
anymore.
and focus on the violent offender. Now it's like, I mean, I had lunch with an officer earlier today who's been on for 20 years in a specialized unit, and he's saying that he's thinking about getting out. He said because he's tired of going putting all this effort in to catch really bad people for when he goes to court. And this incident he was telling me was a federal case, but for the people not to be held accountable. And then they act like even the DAs, ADAs are acting like the officer's done something wrong. You know, like you have to justify why you arrest somebody. And they want to call you racist if you're white and you arrest somebody black. And then you have the tainted jurors who's like, no. He said, well, he had one in a federal case where he said, I'm not putting a black man in jail. And then they had to do but so you have that element on both sides, but it's like, he's like, my job used to be fun, but I'm putting bad people in jail for this. These were felony gun charges for felons, and nothing's happening to them. And not only now are you putting your physical health, you know, not worried about getting shot or hurt or injured or disabled in the job. You worry about going to prison,
getting fired, losing your
pension. And so now everything's just like hands off, like it's not worth it, you know. And he's like, hey, you know, with the administration the way it is now, they don't feel like they're supported. You're losing a lot of veteran cops, not only in this area, but throughout the nation. And then you're losing good cops who give a shit, but you're the ones who don't care now. They're like, cool, I'll sit in my car and watch Netflix. But the ones who care and want to make a difference, they can't do their job. So hopefully things will change. I think it might take another, you know, if it's hopefully not, we don't have, but it's a terrorist attack or some kind of crisis where we have, you know, and people see what we actually do for the community, and we run towards danger. And we, you know, how many firemen and law enforcement officers and medics did we lose during 9/11? A lot. And how many died since then of cancer related to the search? You know, getting lung cancer, or whatever. I mean, and those guys are heroes, but no one can name one of them. You know, it's bad that we can't name one hero of 9/11. I can't name one officer or fireman, which is sad, but we can name who, you know, the last person who was in the news getting killed by the police. Name of officer that's been killed this year. I don't know. I mean, you know, we don't keep up. We don't care. I mean, we do, but in society they don't care.
That's real talk. That's real talk, my man. I mean, I'm just listening because you making some great points, and it's just my answer to the same question that I asked was, I don't think it'll ever get that way. And my second part of my question was going to be, does it even matter? And my answer to that is, no, it doesn't matter, because when you got people that can make money off of suffering or become famous off of viral videos, like, money is truly the root of all evil. I mean, when you got people that want to be notarized, want to get notoriety for the silliest shit or dumb things, then it's never going to improve, because you're going to always have people looking for the next come up. And when you got people in high places that's further inciting the mass, like, for example, like the shooting that happened, I want to say that was in St. Louis, where the officer shot the young lady who was about to stab the other lady. You had LeBron James immediately tweet a picture of the officer saying, "You're next." And it was, and then come to find out, when people showed the video in its entirety, they was like, "Whoa, like, okay, like." Yeah. He ended up saving somebody's life. He had to make the ultimate Sophie's choice, and LeBron had to delete that tweet. And I'm still waiting for the apology or whatever
he never
it was.
apologized.
But you don't have. That's my point. He doesn't have to, because he's LeBron James. He has Nikes. He has all this. He can jump high. He can do this. He has that much influence, and it's such a hot button issue that people with the best platforms are sometimes the people you don't want to be following. And I'll say it again, and it's no, well, it could be a slight to him. I don't give a shit. Just because you could run, jump, dunk, hit a baseball, this is all colors, nationality. Hit a tennis ball, hit a golf ball, whatever it is, does not mean you're a role model, does not make you a community leader, does not make you a voice of the people. It does not make you a voice for the voiceless. Because at the end of the day, if I'm just saying, if Nike comes to you, which I believe they have, or if they come to you and they say, hey, you can't speak out on that. We got a big constituent with that community. What you gonna do? You gonna say, fuck my my lifetime deal with Nike or New Balance or Adidas or whatever the case may be and go across it? No, you're gonna do what the person that signs your check is telling you to do. That's just the end of it. That's why your role models, the people that influence you, should start in the home and then work your way out. When I was growing up, it was my mom, my dad, and my grandmother. Those were the people that influenced me the most. And then I will go outside and I'll be like, hey, such and such is pretty cool. I like the way he does things. I like his philosophy on things, blah, blah, blah. Start in the home. There's no way that somebody who's running, jumping, dunking, doing whatever should be the role models for your children or anybody, because I'm telling you, some of these people are not who you think they are. They're not. They have a job to do, and their job is to make sure that they're as famous and as rich for as long as possible. And that, for a lot of people, I hate to break it to you, that changes their morals a lot. That's why y'all be so heartbroken when you find out some of your quote-unquote heroes are really shitty people. Because you really put your faith in them and you really thought that they was a voice. You thought that they was a platform. That's why I tell people all the time, when people show you who they are the first time, believe them. If so-and-so says something in private and then apologizes because he didn't want for it to get out, that he or she, that's how he or she really thinks. They're only upset that they got caught and it's costing them money or notoriety.
Yeah. And the thing they have is a platform because people listen to them. But the thing is, that's like LeBron James. If I want to know about basketball, he's an expert, right? I mean, he's a great basketball player. So his opinion is going to matter. But in the stuff that he knows nothing about, don't pretend like if you're an actor that you know because you played a cop on TV that you know what it's like being a cop. I can't pretend I know what it's like to be a professional basketball player or a doctor or a construction worker. I don't know. So the calls they make and the decisions they make split second, we have to hope they make the choice and give them the benefit of the doubt when something goes wrong. And we just don't have that anymore. We don't get the benefit of the doubt. We get, they slow the video and and they did this and they charged an officer. I think it was in Milwaukee about a year and a half, 2 years ago, that the guy was running with a gun and the guy turned towards the officer and the officer shot him and they ended up charging the guy. But they were like, if you slow the video down, he was putting the gun was going down and not up. I mean, something ridiculous. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's not how the mind works. We don't have the luxury of putting slow motion on when something happens. And how many times does something look like a gun and ends up not being a gun? And thankfully we didn't have to shoot somebody or something. But until I know what it's like to be in a professional basketball court, I can't speak to the mindset and the adrenaline or feelings that he's feeling. Right. So the people in that position shouldn't do the same to us. Give us the benefit of the doubt.
And we're not saying that they can't have a voice or they can't speak out on something, but be educated on it. Know what you can and cannot do, and be smart about it. Tweeting out a picture of somebody and inciting a mob against that person, do you think that's smart? Do you think that's smart?
And have enough wisdom to be like, hey, that didn't look right to me, but we need more of the facts, or I don't. Is that protocol? Ask questions.
It's
like, is
okay.
that protocol? Is
It's
that what's supposed to
okay.
do? I see that and it bothers me. That's fine, but just to make those rash.
But now,
comments
even saying that means you're a sellout, or you're on their side. If you say, "Hey, I want to wait till the facts come out," oh, so you're taking their side? No, because how many times have we seen somebody react to something, then something more details come out, and then that person's like, now I gotta retract. Now
Or
I
you
gotta
get a
play
different
mental
angle.
gym. Right,
You know,
right.
you see a police video of somebody's recording from, sorry about the cough, but a block away, and it looks like this officer's just beating the shit out of this dude, right? Oh, this is police brutality all day long, and then you look at it, and I'm like, damn, that doesn't look good. But then they release a video, body worn camera, which is more like the perspective that the officer has, not exactly, because what's recording here is different than what you see. So I'm looking over here, and this recording here, I got a different perspective. A lot of people don't realize that, but then you hear the guy's going for a gun. So then you hear he's going for a gun, and they're arresting the guy, and the guy's trying to pull, and he's officer doing blows in the face. But from a distance, it looks like they're beating the shit out of him. But once what we call in law enforcement in the legal system, totality of the circumstances, right? Once you have the totality, you have the location, you have the circumstances, who, what, where, when, why, and then the picture comes together. So just have enough wisdom to know what we don't know. And I've been bad for it. I'm sure you have too. Is you make an assumption. How many times are you making an assumption when you first get there based on how the call goes out or what you first see, and then it's totally disproven, and what you thought you had is not nothing.
No.
And so you're like, and it doesn't matter if you had 1 month on or 20 years on, that shit happens. And then you learn, well, let me talk to both sides. You don't go talk to the female and who says, yeah, he did X, Y, Z, and then all of a sudden go put him in handcuffs. Like, you get the other perspectives, and you look at the evidence. You have to talk to both parties to figure it out.
Right. I totally agree with you, and I just hope that in the long run we're able to just keep having dialogue, keep being genuine, and being asking questions. That's the most important thing, and learning.
And so I know we're out of time. We're getting ready to bounce, but I sent it to you earlier. Today we hit 1,000. I think we were 1,001 earlier. We might be a few more. And our Facebook likes from our new page. So if you add the Facebook to the Instagram and everything else, it's like 500,000 followers, I think, if my math is right.
That is awesome across all social media platforms. And we like to thank everybody for that, because without you guys listening, following, liking, sharing, good or bad, whatever you share, it's still analytics. Everything is about analytics. And I ask everybody again to please make sure you go to the Black and Blue Lives page on Facebook, like it. Make sure you go to Instagram, like it. I'm Real Prince Blue on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. He's Step2223 on Instagram, and TOG 4280 on TikTok. Please make sure you just keep listening, keep clicking away, ask questions, whatever it is.
If you want us to talk about something,
bring it to you. Yeah.
Like I know we've asked Angela a couple of times if she was interested to come in and give her do a
she
show.
is coming on. We're working on that. She is. We're aiming for next week. So yes, Angela Alvarez, who's a former dispatcher and former medic. She will be on with us, and that will give you another perspective from their side of things.
Go. I don't remember which episode it was, but just go back until you see the one with it's probably 4 months ago. We did that episode with Joe.
What is fire?
What is fire? So very powerful episode. Good dude. Check out his organization. But so we, like we talk about, it's just not cops. We're family, police, fire, medic, dispatchers.
nurses, doctors.
Nurses.
Like, listen, we include everybody that keeps this whole thing going. We appreciate everybody for listening. Thank you all. Thank you to everybody who showed me love. And once again, I want to show y'all. I want to end this on a good note. I want y'all to see the speed of one Prince
put it in
Blizzard.
slow motion so we can actually see, because you just go into it's like a flash of light.
I tried. There's no slow motion. It's just speed. Watch this. Watch this.
Whoa, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
You in a foot chase talking like, oh, I would do it. But I'm coming to get you. You better give up.
That's the part that gets a lot of people. They're like, talk to me. And they're like, Blue, you know what's the funniest part about that video? I'm like, what? They're like, dude, you're talking through the whole thing. Like you should be focusing on the run. I'm like, look, I'm trying to focus on not dying or pulling something.
That's fair.
So if I'm gonna be talking to them, wait a minute. That's right. Wait a minute. but thank you everybody for listening. I hope you guys have a great evening and rest of the day. And remember, #BuddyCheck. Shout out to the #BuddyCheck movement foundation. Please check on everybody. And if you missed this episode, it will you can always rewatch it again. And the podcast will be available for download in the morning. Make sure you go to the Black and Blue Lives show podcast on Apple and Google and just click subscribe and make sure you leave a rating. And how about this? How about everybody that's listening, go to the Black and Blue Lives podcast on Apple or Google, click subscribe, leave a rating and screenshot it and send it to and show the picture. Send the picture to the Black and Blue Lives page or one of us so we can share that. All your support is welcome, please. And if you're older and you don't know how to do it, please get with your nephew, your younger son, your cousin, somebody that's young and hip, and please share this video and ask them how to subscribe to our podcast. And thank you. And we are out of here. And we always leave you with the Black and Blue Lives theme song. I can't believe we got a theme song, but we big like that. So we are out of here. Later.
Yeah. Look, Black and Blue